Awesome. Well, first and foremost, greatly appreciate Nextiny putting on this hug. You guys have been a long-term partner of not always 7 cents, but a great friend. So again, appreciate you arranging this, and for everybody that's joining, sincerely appreciate you giving up some time. I know time is the most valuable asset that we all have, and in fact, that will be a part of today's discussion. So I don't want to bore you with a bunch of PowerPoint slides, things along those lines, because really what I want you to walk away with today is, some tactics that you can be using to drive, your email programs, drive your email program to the next level of success. So just from a quick agenda perspective, I'll go over just kind of a quick background on who I am, so that you can get a little bit of an understanding there. One of the big things we'll focus on today is the email challenges we all face. If you live in the world of email marketing or you do any email marketing, at the end of the day, we all have the same challenges. It's just whether or not those challenges are one, big enough, and two, are they worth pursuing or fixing? One of the terms I like is the juice worth the squeeze. We're going to go over the world's currency because that's an area that I don't think a lot of folks understand. And then ultimately, what we're really going to be covering a lot of today is email performance management. What is it? Why should you care? And who is it really designed for? So a bit of a quick background on myself. I'm the co-founder and CEO of 7 Cents. I started my career as a biotech engineer where we mapped the human genome. So we were the first commercial organization to do that. I'm dating myself there a little bit because that happened back in 2001. And then I made the jump to the dark side of technology sales. And I was in technology sales for the better part of, it was about 13 years. And that's where the idea of 7 Cents really came from. Some of the challenges that I was facing as an enterprise sales rep. And I recognized that this challenge wasn't going away and it was only going to get bigger. Fun fact, I love surfing and I love playing golf. So that's kind of what I do when and if I have spare time, because I also am a youth baseball and football coach, which is another 40-hour-a-week job, but I wouldn't give it up for anything in the world. So, what is 7 Cents? We're an email performance management system that is designed exclusively for HubSpot and Marketo. We founded the business in 2013. We entered into the HubSpot ecosystem in 2014 and released our first product at the end of 2014 that was an integration with HubSpot. This is when HubSpot was, full transparency, they were thinking about trying to become a platform company, but they knew that was an aircraft carrier that they had to shift. And at that point, we just made a big bet because of the love that we got from them. We were one of their first, what they called Connect partners. So we've been working with HubSpot for over 10 years now. We are bootstrapped. We are profitable as an organization. So no capital raises. We grow. And that also holds us accountable to making sure that our customers are successful. Because if our customers aren't successful, we don't have VC funny money to just keep throwing around. A couple of numbers. We've got thousands of customers that span from utilizing HubSpot to Marketo. Customers have used us for hundreds of thousands of campaigns. For email campaigns, we have, and you'll learn a little bit more about what we call profile here in a bit. But the system as a whole has hundreds of millions of profiles, and every day we process tens of billions of what we call engagement events. And again, you'll learn a little bit more about this today. So without further ado, why don't we just kind of jump in? And again, as Kalina said, if you have questions along the way, I am completely fine with doing audibles, like fire away in the Q&A or the chat session. I'm happy to address them in real time. If we start getting a bit behind, then we can always come back and save them for the end. So obviously, email is a critical communication channel for most organizations. However, driving real business results from email, it's gotten fundamentally hard, and it's not going to get any easier. And if you think about, yes, it is still easy to press send on an email, but to actually drive real business results, that's what's gotten fundamentally hard. And if you think about the underlying reason of why it's gotten so hard, it's because there's no barrier to entry for organizations to send emails today. Like, we could get off this Hug, go sign up for Constant Contact, MailChimp, HubSpot, Marketo, go get a list of 50,000 of our closest friends from somewhere. And literally within a few hours today, we could be sending emails to 50,000 people. It's why you see, if you go to your local coffee shop, what do they ask for? They ask for your email address. Hey, join our rewards program. If you go to your local restaurant, your favorite restaurant, what are they doing? They're asking for your email address. Everybody is doing email today because that barrier to entry doesn't exist. Well, because it is so easy, and because people think it's just, a really low cost mechanism to marketing, people abuse the channel. We need more leads, send more email. We need more people in our restaurants, send more email. We need more butts and seats at events, send more email. So a lot of organizations treat it as a commodity channel, and there is a lot of it being sent. Well, because the channel has become so abused, the inbox providers, Google, Microsoft, corporate filtering systems, and even the consumer providers, they are all waging a war on spam. And I'm not referencing, your professional spammers that are actually trying to steal your credit card information, but rather what their algorithms perceive as organizations that are sending lots and lots of unwanted email. And even if HubSpot's telling you that 99.8% of your emails are getting delivered, all that means is 99.8% of your emails were received by the receiving inbox provider. It does not actually mean that your emails are making it to the inbox. They could be landing in spam. They could be getting quarantined, and it will still show up as a delivery in HubSpot, but it didn't make its way anywhere close to the actual inbox. It's much like if a tree falls in a forest and nobody was there, did it actually make a sound? That's what I liken it to. So the first challenge when you think about email performance management is all about, one, how can I get better visibility into how my emails are performing? And two, how can I increase the odds and probability that I'm actually going to reach people's inboxes? So that's kind of the introduction, or the first challenge that we're gonna chat about today. The second challenge that we're going to talk about today is, if I were to ask everybody on this Hug, what do you think the world's currency is? I'd get a bunch of different answers. Some people would say it's a different stock market. Some people would say it's GDP. Some people would say it's oil. People would say it's the different currencies of the world. It's not any of those things. The world's currency is attention. Without attention, governments can't exist, corporations can't exist. We wouldn't even have friends and family if we weren't giving and getting attention. I think if you look at your own inbox, you would probably laugh and say, yeah, Mike, there is no shortage of brands or companies trying to capture my attention in my own inbox. So much like organizations have historically invested in search engine optimization and now LLM optimization, why do they do that? Because you can write the best content in the world, but if it's on the 5th page of a Google search, or it's not even showing up in an LLM, and when I say LLM, I'm talking about like things like ChatGPT, Claude, etc. Again, you can write the best content, but if it's, again, on the 5th page, what's the likelihood or probability that people are going to see, let alone engage in that content? Not very high. The same thing actually holds true with inboxes today. Inboxes are an incredibly competitive space. You might have the best lead acquisition process in the world. You might write the best content in the world that would totally resonates with your audience. But if your emails are buried below 50, 100, 200, 300 other emails, what's the likelihood or probability that those emails are going to get seen, let alone engaged with? Not very high. Well, one advantage that we have as marketers is that human beings are creatures of habit. We get out of bed at certain times of day. We start our workday at certain times of day. We have personal commitments at certain times of day. And believe it or not, we are more prone to truly engage in our inboxes at certain times of day and days of week. Our inboxes are a stressful place. It is not 1999 where AOL would pop something open and say, "You've got mail," and everybody just would run to their computer to say, "Who sent me an email?" So because they're a stressful place, psychologically, we are training our brains, which are at the end of the day, biological supercomputers, in how to deal with that stress. And one of the mechanisms to do that is to not live in it like all day, every day. Sure, we triage our inboxes day in and day out. We come from a meeting, we have 10 minutes. Is there anything important here? Anything I need to immediately respond to? Or maybe I'm at the local coffee shop in the morning and I'm kind of like passively scrolling through my inbox. But at least once a day or a couple times a week, we'll spend some quality time. Is there any lower priority items that I need to address? Is there any projects that I'm thinking about that are 6, 9, 12 months down the road that I don't have budget for yet, that maybe there's an event that looks interesting to me? Maybe I want to do some window shopping from some brands that I like. Well, inside of HubSpot, every time you have historically sent emails and every time you continue to send emails, you are generating really what I term as black gold. It's all of this information about when is Jen opening your emails? When is Jen clicking on links in your emails? Is Jen doing that on a mobile device? Is Jen doing that on a desktop? How recently did Jen take one of those actions? Every HubSpot customer, 250,000 of them, well, I don't know if all 250,000 of them use Marketing Hub, have a mountain of this information. Quite frankly, most aren't doing anything with it. It's literally just sitting there right now, and most aren't, again, doing anything with it. What we do at 7 Cents is we tap into that information, then utilizing AI, we build a profile on each individual person. Now, that profile is always learning. So all day, every day, 7 Cents is polling HubSpot and saying, "Hey, do you have any new information? Do you have any new information?" And as that new information comes in, we update these profiles. So what I'm displaying on my screen, and you can see this in HubSpot CRM, is a profile of an individual. And what this is saying is this person's peak engagement time in our email program on a Tuesday is in the 11 a.m. hour. So if I was sending an email to 5,000, 50,000, or 500,000 people, and I say, I don't care when the email is delivered, just deliver it on Tuesday, this individual is going to get their email in the 11 a.m. hour. Jen might have gotten her email in the 6 a.m. hour. Scott might not get his email until the 8 p.m. hour. In addition to that, we also illuminate when is this person's peak engagement time across the week. So say I'm sending a newsletter to 5,000, 50,000, or 500,000 people, and I say, I've got nothing going to this audience for an entire week. So I don't care when the email is delivered, just deliver it this week. This individual would get their email on Wednesday in the 9 a.m. hour. Jen might have gotten her email on Monday in the 6 a.m. hour. Scott might not get his email until the 8 p.m. hour on Saturday. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is our system is completely time zone agnostic. It does not care about time zones. Now, we will do display in time zones. So you can see here, my time zone is America, New York. If I were to go change, my browser setting to UK time, this would all update. So on the back end, we don't care about time zones. Time zones are riddled with all kinds of issues. And I know HubSpot has time zone sending. I'm not gonna pick on them because we love HubSpot, but their time zone sending is, again, riddled with all kinds of faults. So this process of delivering emails and the way that we do it, we call delivery time optimization. It's what we're well known for in the HubSpot ecosystem, and what we actually started our integration with HubSpot over 10 years ago. Obviously, the algorithms have gotten significantly more sophisticated over that time span. The second thing that you see on this profile, and you're probably wondering what this is, recycle people threshold. I'm first going to kind of just talk a little bit about the problem that every organization faces. As time goes on and as your business grows, your database is obviously going to grow in size. At least I would hope it does. And as your database grows, the performance of your email program is naturally going to start dropping off, meaning open rates, click rates, conversion rates. I'm not saying the number of people, but the conversion rates are going to go down. And that's a natural thing because you're going to have people that are very front loaded. They want to engage in every email that you send to them. You're going to have people that are very, kind of like they've been in your email program for a long time and they're seeing a lot of the same kind of content over and over and over again. So as performance starts to decline, if you don't take corrective measures, the inbox providers are going to start recognizing that. And as the inbox providers start recognizing that, they're going to say, it appears a lot of people from that you're sending emails to don't want your emails. So I'm going to start putting more and more of your emails in spam. And if you don't take corrective measures even there, then the next thing you know, they will quarantine those emails. And guess what? HubSpot's still going to say 99.9% of those emails got delivered. So because that performance starts to drop, that leaves us kind of with two options. One, I can use what I like to call, it's the easy button. I like to call it the lazy button. And that's that checkbox in HubSpot that says, don't send to contacts with low engagement. So that's option one. Option two is you come up with your own kind of, off the cuff segmentation, engagement segmentation. Somebody hasn't engaged in 6 months. Let's put them on ice. Or somebody hasn't engaged in 9 months. Let's put them on ice. Well, the challenge with both of those approaches is that you leave a lot of people behind. And what I mean by leave a lot of people behind, you're no longer emailing them. Well, that segment of your audience continues to grow and grow and grow. And then somebody in leadership goes, well, we've got this huge component of our database that we're not even emailing. I don't know anything about email infrastructure. I don't know why you're doing that. This is our most important event of the year. Send the email to everybody. Well, then we uncheck that box and we see high bounce rates, high complaint rates, really low engagement. And the next thing you know, our domain, what's called a domain reputation or sending domain, gets tarnished. And then we have to go build back up our sending domain by checking that box. And then another executive will come and say, no, this email is really important. It needs to go to everybody. We go uncheck it. Our domain reputation crashes again. Then we got to go rebuild it by checking that box. And it really just becomes a game of whack-a-mole. In addition to that, what happens if somebody came into the market during that period of time that you had them sitting on ice? Like, hey, I wasn't interested today, but I'm interested in 3 months from now, 9 months from now, 12 months from now, 18 months from now. You may have missed them. You've missed your opportunity to say, hey, I'm still here when and if you want to have that conversation. So that's kind of like option one, is checking the lazy button. The second option is I've got this huge segment of my database that we're no longer emailing. So then somebody says, oh, well, let's go build a re-engagement campaign. And we're gonna put all these people into a re-engagement campaign. That has the same problems. When you launch that one, it takes a lot of time to build out a re-engagement campaign. You got to build content, you got to build the strategy. It takes weeks or months. Everybody has their own opinions of exactly how it should be launched. Well, even when you launch it, you see high bounce rates, high complaint rates, low engagement. So the same problems as unchecking the lazy button. But two, the same problem occurs. You may only capture a small sliver of the market that is in the market for what you sell at that moment in time. Meaning, hey, maybe 1 or 2% of those people actually engage in those emails and raise their hand and go, hey, I'm ready to have the conversation today. But the other 99% just simply aren't there yet. And to further prove that point, at any point in time, any business on the planet is lucky to have 2 to 3% of their addressable market in the market for what they sell at that moment in time. The other 97 and 98% just simply aren't in the market. They don't have budget. It's not a top priority. They don't have a big enough problem. They don't even know a solution exists, etc. Their attention, going back to that world's currency, is elsewhere. But again, what we tend to do as marketers, we segment people. Hey, these people are interested in this, and we send them the same volume of email. And when we send everybody the same volume of email, people get annoyed, fatigued, desensitized. And then that's where the lazy button comes in, the re-engagement campaign comes in. So I really wanted to frame that challenge so that everybody has a full understanding. We've come up with a fundamentally different way of addressing this problem. And essentially how we do it is, for every single contact in your database, whether or not they are brand new, you've never emailed them, all the way to people that have been in your database for years, they get assigned a probability of engaging in the next email that you're sending to them. And you may ask, well, how are you doing that? Well, what we've done is we've trained the AI to say, look at this person's pattern of engagement with you, and then look at what people did that had that exact same profile before. So you will have people in your database that have a 0.0001% probability of engaging, all the way to a 99% probability of engaging in the next email that you send. And the reason why I'm stressing the next email is this person has a 20% probability of engaging in the next email that we send to them. If I were to send them an email today, and I were to come back tomorrow and look at this same profile, depending on what that person did, their probability of engaging is either going to go up or it's going to go down. And essentially what we've done is we've come up with the capability of recycling people that fall below a certain threshold of engaging in your emails. Now, I'm going to cover that topic much more deeply here in a moment. So this profile is the core of 7 Cents. That being said, I'd never expect you to go look at one of these. I'd never expect customers to go look at these, because it's purely there as a mechanism to be completely transparent in the way the AI works. There's a lot of AI solutions out there that are black boxes. You have no idea how it's doing what it's doing. We just believe in radical transparency. In fact, if a customer were to come to us and say, well, I want a little bit deeper insight into how your actual algorithms work, we're always happy to do so, because they are very, very sophisticated. And again, we just believe in full transparency. So again, this profile is the core of our system. Now, in order to activate this information, I now need to inject it into my campaigns. So what we're going to focus on next is an automation campaign. And this is a super simple example. Say somebody fills out a form on your website, they request a piece of content, or maybe you have a pop-up if you're a B2C brand that says, take 15% off your first order, just give us your email address. Well, then once the person fills out the form or gives you their email address via a pop-up, we're going to send them an email, and we're going to do that immediately. Then we're going to delay 2 days, send them another email. Delay for 2 days, send them another email. Delay for 2 days, send them another email. Well, the challenge with this approach, and every marketing automation platform on the planet has this same challenge, is that this first email is going to be sent immediately. So say somebody fills out a form at 3:04 p.m. This email is going to be sent at 3:04 p.m. Then this email, it's going to delay for 2 days, send another email at 3:04 p.m., delay for 2 days, send another email at 3:04 p.m., delay for 2 days, send another email at 3:04 p.m. The challenge with this approach is that, even think about your own behavioral patterns, and you may not have recognized that you do this before. A colleague or a friend says, hey, go check out this brand, or you're just chatting, you're having a live conversation face to face, go check out this brand, they got awesome shoes, or hey, this technology company was able to solve this for me. Well, while it's fresh in my mind on my mobile device, I go to that website, I get that pop-up, take 15% off your first order of shoes, or download this white paper from a B2B company. I give you my email address, but I don't have time to engage in the content or shop at that moment in time. It's not I'm still having a face-to-face live conversation with my friend. So say maybe you come back and engage in that email in the 8 p.m. hour. Well, again, every one of these emails, because in the 8 p.m. hour you had time to ingest that conversation or ingest that content or do some window shopping. Um, Remember, every subsequent email is going to be sent at 3:04 p.m. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to inject 7 cents into this campaign. Now, I will come back and I will explain the logic after I inject it. But a couple things you'll notice. I'm doing this completely natively in HubSpot. This is not a Chrome extension. It's not a Zapier integration. It is a full-on native integration. In addition to that, it is plug and play, meaning if you have existing flows, it's not like you need to start over from scratch, clone your workflow, rebuild it. You can just inject the system into live campaigns. So you can see in about 20 seconds, I'm done. So the new logic here is somebody fills out a form. We're going to send them this first email. Now, to further prove the point, and I should have brought this up a moment ago, to further prove the point of, yes, you likely have very high engagement in first emails as part of an automation campaign, but you don't have 100% open rates, 100% click rates. Think about that. Why? They just requested a piece of content, or they look like they were just about to make a purchase of some new pair of shoes because they said, hey, I'm window shopping. I'm going to fill out this, to get this 15% discount. Again, you likely have high engagement, but you don't have 100%. And the reason why you don't have 100% is one of really two reasons. One, either you didn't reach their inbox, or two, it was an inopportune time for them to engage in that content. So you send them this first email at 3:04 p.m. They actually engage in the email in the 8 p.m. hour. So it's going to delay for 2 days. Then they're going to hit this step. And you can see I have a 1-day delivery window. 1 day equals 24 hours. What's happening is HubSpot's making a call to 7 cents and it's saying, hey, do you know anything about this individual? Oh, you do? You have signal on them in the 8 p.m. hour. The system will randomly select the time in the 8 p.m. hour, send the next email. Then it delays for 2 days. HubSpot makes another call. Hey, do you have any updated or stronger signal on this individual? Oh, you do? We've captured even more signal and stronger signal in the 6 p.m. hour. So it selects a random time in the 6 p.m. hour, tells HubSpot to send the email in the 6 p.m. hour. Delayed for 2 days, HubSpot makes another call. Hey, do you have any updated or stronger signal on this individual? Oh, you do? There's a stronger signal now in the 10 p.m. hour because either it's a different day of the week or you've captured stronger signal. Now, this usually leads to the question of, what do you do for people that you don't have any engagement data on? Now, our system is not a system that starts today and looks forward. Actually, what it will do is when you connect the two and you integrate the two, remember, you've got this mountain of information sitting in your HubSpot portal literally right now. What we do is we back analyze all of that historical information and profile anybody that has historical engagement data. And then again, all day, every day, we're listening for new signals and updating and adjusting the profile. So, but let's say somebody comes in, they're brand new to your database and they fill out the form, you send them an email, they do nothing. You haven't sent them any other emails, or maybe you have sent them a lot of emails, but they've just never engaged. There's no signal on those individuals. Well, what's Einstein's definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Unfortunately, marketers truly live in the world of insanity. I don't blame marketers. I blame the tools. And what I mean by that is go sit next to your, top salesperson and ask them, or if you've done sales yourself, ask them, if you have a high value prospect, would you come in on Monday morning, call the person at 10 a.m., they don't answer. Come in on Tuesday, call them at 10 a.m., they don't answer. Come in on Wednesday, call them at 10 a.m., they don't answer. And they would just laugh. Why would I continue to call them at 10 a.m.? They're not answering their phone. So what a good salesperson will do is they'll try them at 9:17 a.m. on Monday. They don't answer. Tuesday, they'll try them at 3:33 p.m. They don't answer. Wednesday, they may say, you know what, let me try this person later in the day. So I'll try them at 6:48 p.m. because they may not have as much vying for their attention. And they answer their phone. We have a valuable conversation. I'm then going to recognize, hey, if I want to get a hold of Sarah, I'm going to try her around the time that I had historically had success. Whereas in marketing, what we do is we read 50 blog posts on the best time to send email. They all say 10 a.m. So we send our emails at 10 a.m. Maybe we've done some A/B testing that produced unstatistically significant results. 10 a.m. was the winner. So we send our emails at 10 a.m. Or maybe we use time zone sending with HubSpot, again, which is riddled with all kinds of issues. We take the approach, of what a professional salesperson does. So say somebody fills out this form, you send them an email. They don't engage in this email. They've never engaged in an email that you've ever sent to them. Delayed for 2 days. HubSpot makes a call to our system. Hey, do you know anything about this individual? Nope, no idea what to do with them. Try them at 9:17 a.m. Person does nothing. Delayed for 2 days. HubSpot makes another call. Hey, do you have any signal on this individual? Nope, no idea what to do with them. Try them at 3:33 p.m. Person still does nothing. Delayed for 2 days. HubSpot makes another call. Hey, do you know anything about this individual? Nope, no idea what to do with them. Try them at 6:48 p.m. Sends the next email at 6:48 p.m. Boom, high enough in their inbox, catches their attention. They then engage in that email. Well, 7 cents is going to learn that. So it's a way of sampling people and saying, hey, I know nothing about you. So instead of trying to do the same thing over and over and over and over again, I'm just going to keep poking you and trying you at different times until I can learn something. So that's how the system, that's how we cover automation campaigns. Now, what I'm going to cover next is, okay, how do I do one-off emails? Full transparency, and this is where some people, again, I believe in full transparency. Some people get stuck. And what I mean by this is when you send a regular email via HubSpot, the process is I create a regular email, I create my content, I add my list or lists, and I say send it at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, or maybe I use time zone sending. You do have to utilize a workflow. So HubSpot is still handling the analytics, the reporting, the delivery. Nothing changes there. You're just changing your process. Now, as the world becomes, as all of us, our jobs are going to change in the way that we interact with systems. And it is becoming more and more of an agentic workflow. If you don't understand how to use workflows today, I would highly encourage, regardless of whether you're using 7 cents, I would highly encourage you to get very comfortable with using workflows, because this is the future of work, agentic. And that's agents talking to different agents. And this can be viewed the same way. Now, one of the things that we also do to try and get you over the hump of getting comfortable in the workflow tool is inside of our application, we have an entire workflow template library. And so you can see here, there's a bunch of different workflows. And as part of kind of like onboarding with customers, you don't have to go build these workflows from scratch. You just click push, and it will push the workflow into HubSpot. And this is what a workflow would look like for when I want to send a newsletter. Now, I'm a big fan of templating. So if you send a newsletter, once a week, once a month, just build a template that includes all the lists and exclusion lists, just like you have with your regular email, and just build that as a template. And therefore, you can just clone the workflow every single week or month. And you can also reuse these workflows. So from a flow perspective, what we're going to do is we're going to say, I want to run this workflow once, and we're going to have this kick off on the 23rd, so next Monday, and we're going to start the first delivery that can go out is midnight on the 23rd. And this is the list that it's going to. Now, again, if I have suppression lists, those types of things, all of these functionality that exists with regular emails exists here as well. So if you can see here, this is set to run on June 23rd. If I turn this workflow on now, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to sit there. And it's going to sit there until June 23rd at midnight. And then on June 23rd at midnight, it's going to wake up and say, who is part of this list or lists at this moment in time? I'm going to enroll them. Just like when you send a regular email and you say, send the email at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, if somebody becomes a member of that list at 10:05 a.m., they wouldn't get that email. The same principle holds true here. If somebody became a member of that active list at 12:04 a.m., they wouldn't get enrolled in this workflow. It's only enrolling people that are part of that active list at 12 a.m. on June 23rd. So say that's 50,000 people. All 50,000 people on June 23rd at midnight are going to drop to this email delivery optimization step. And now I can say, I don't have anything going to this audience over the next 5 days. So I'll select the 5-day delivery window. Now, delivery window that's the AI human partnership. How much time do I want to give the AI to deliver this email? Like, what is the window to pick from for each individual person? Now, I can make those windows as short as an hour, although, and I'll show you like here, I just would select 0 days and 1 hour, all the way to 7 days and anything in between. So in this example, we'll say, let's send this email over a 5-day span. So what's now going to happen is all 50,000 contacts drop to this step. HubSpot's going to make 50,000 calls to our system. When in the next 5 days should I send Jenner email? When in the next 5 days should I send Sarah email? When in the next 5 days should I send Scott his email? And when that time comes along, each individual will get their email. Now, there is a lot of goodness happening in the background. One, you're personalizing delivery time for people that you have profiles on. For people that you do not have profiles on, meaning they've never engaged in your email program before, you're still utilizing that random or sampling function of selecting different times. The byproduct of the way that you're delivering the email is what is called throttling. Throttling emails is absolutely critical in today's world. For example, if you have an account-based marketing strategy and you don't have an email delivery strategy, you've really already set yourself up for failure. Because when you're selling, when you have account-based marketing strategy, you might be sending emails to 10 people at a single account. Well, if you blast an email to 10 people at the same account at the exact same time, that is a huge red flag to a corporate filtering system. It's going to go, whoa, you just sent me 10 of the exact same emails at the exact same time. I'm still going to tell HubSpot your email was delivered, but I'm immediately going to put you in spam or quarantine you all together. In fact, if you're not familiar with what Google and Yahoo and now Microsoft have announced or have implemented with their sender guidelines, Google did us a huge favor. They didn't know they did us a favor. I wish I knew some folks at Google. But in their sender guidelines, they specifically call out, if you are a high volume sender, meaning somebody that has ever sent more than 5,000 emails in a single day to their network, you should not be blasting emails to their network. You should be streaming, AKA throttling emails to their network. Because when you blast emails, your emails get inspected a lot more heavily. So throttling is a byproduct of the way the system works. And what throttling is just, again, trickling that email out. So one, it helps with deliverability. That's a big part big component of today's successful email programs. Now, if you remember, when I said full transparency, you have to change your process. Unless everybody on this hug is a marketing unicorn, and if you are, please tell me, because I've never met one, and I say that as a joke. Guess what we are? We're human beings. What do human beings do? Sometimes we make mistakes. Broken links, broken images, wrong webinar dates, misspellings. And when those things happen, then we have to send, and it's also what makes pressing send on a blast email very, like, our adrenaline goes way up, because we know from time to time we're going to make a mistake. Well, when that mistake is made, we have two options, or a couple of options. One, we can just let it be. Or two, we have to send an oops email and say, oops, sorry, here's the correct link. We're really sorry about that. And when we send an oops email, it increases unsubscribes, spam complaints, low engagement, and it tarnishes our brand. And we have to tell our executives, leadership, oh my gosh, we made a mistake on this. We're so sorry, etc. So career limiting move. Well, remember, I'm just trickling this email out over 5 days. It's just like every hour going to, a small group of people. Well, if I recognize there's an issue, I can always come up here, click edit the email, fix whatever is broken in it. Heck, maybe I come up with a better subject line in the middle of, the email sent. I can go adjust anything in the actual email, click update. Anybody that has not gotten the email yet will get the new version of it. If I need a pause button, meaning, oh my gosh, the landing page is broken, and people can't register for this event, I can just say, oh no, it's going to take me 3 hours to fix the landing page. So you know what? I'm going to delay sending for another 4 hours. okay, now I can take a deep breath. The email's only going to a small number of people. The small number of people, one person was nice enough to reach out and say the landing page was broken. I can then go over. Now, remember, I delayed it for 4 hours. So guess what I get to do? I get to go grab a cup of coffee. I'm not stressed out. I go fix the landing page. Once the landing page is fixed, I can come back here, delete this action. Everybody goes back on their merry way. If it is a ripcord, like an executive comes and says, no, we're going to change the webinar date. No, you already sent the email. Oh. Fear no more. I can simply just come up here, turn the workflow off. Anybody that hasn't gotten the email yet will just completely drain out of the flow. Now, there might be a few people that got it, maybe a couple registered. Okay, I reach out to those individuals. But anybody that hasn't opened or clicked the email, I'm not going to reach out to them because they didn't even see it. So that's the first part of blast emails. The second piece that I wanted to go over, if you remember back here, we talked quite a bit about this person's probability of engaging. Now, what I also can do is I can set a threshold and say anybody that falls below a 10% probability of engaging, I now want to go through a recycling process. And what this is going to do is when they hit this step, HubSpot's going to ask 7 cents, not only when should I send this person their email in the next 5 days, but it's then going to ask a second question. What is this person's probability of engaging? Is it 10% or greater? Great, let them through. They're getting their email. If it's less than 10%, then what the AI is going to do is it's going to say, yeah, I don't want to suppress all of them out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly select a group of those people, and we're going to tell HubSpot to let them through. They're going to get their email. Then the other folks that didn't get randomly selected, they're going to get suppressed out of this mailing. Then the next time I go to send an email, it's going to ask the same question. Anybody that's 10% or above, they're definitely getting the email. But then anybody that falls below, the AI is going to randomly select a group of them. They're going to get that email. Now, I'm going to pull open a visual of this. Give me just a second to further highlight what I'm referring to. Oh, I should have brought this up before. Sorry. If there's any questions right now, this would be a good time. If not,
it looks like we do have one question. Shell is asking, how does the optimized send time functionality work for an email where I am A/B testing the content at a 50-50 split?
So as part of automation flows, you can, that's just as part of the email setup where you can set it up as a 50-50 A/B test.
Awesome. Shell, let us know if that answered your question, if you have additional. Looks like she has a second question. How does 7 Cents overcome the visibility issues of email opens for Apple Mail following the recent iOS updates? As this is something that HubSpot doesn't seem to report on very well.
Awesome. So HubSpot in August, I would tell you HubSpot's bot filtering up until August was pretty much junk. And we know the engineers that built it. In August, they produced some pretty significant updates to their bot filtering technology. One, we take advantage of their bot filtering technology, but two, we do some things on our end to remove false positives. I'm happy to get in. That is probably a 20 to 30 minute conversation on that specifically. But our AI throws out anything that we believe is a bot. And that could be HubSpot saying it's a bot or our system saying it's a bot.
Awesome.
All right. So to further kind of highlight this recycling capability, say I've got 3 emails that I want to send, and I've got an initial list of 10,000 people. 7,000 have greater than a 10% probability of engaging. 3,000 people have less than a 10% probability of engaging. So they're going to go down the recycle path. Well, the AI is going to randomly select 1,000 of them to still get their email. Then it's going to suppress out the next email. Those 2,000 people are going to get suppressed from this email. Then when I go to send email 2, Same thing. Everybody goes back into the list. Then anybody above that 10% threshold, they're getting the email. The 3,000 that fall below, the AI is going to randomly select a group of them. And we'll just say for this example, 1,000 of them. They get the email, the other 2,000 are suppressed. And so it's just constantly randomly selecting people that fall below that threshold to get the email. Well, what does this kind of look like in the real world? We've got a recycling threshold of 10%. And you can see this person, 90% probability of engaging, 55, 30%. They're getting all 3 emails. But this person has a 7% probability of engaging, and they got randomly selected to get email 1. This person got randomly selected to get email 2. This person got randomly selected to get email 3. Now, it's not going to always just be fully linear or linear like that, purely because of the nature of randomization. But the benefit of this is that, one, I'm never leaving contacts behind. So everybody's still getting email. There's just people that fall below a threshold, they're not getting as many emails from us, which is a good thing because we don't want to continue to annoy, fatigue, or desensitize them. 2, think of it as an always-on re-engagement campaign. Yeah, every once in a while, I'm going to poke you and say, hey, we're still here, ready to have that conversation if you'd like to. And 3, you're going to capture, instead of capturing that small sliver of the market when you run that big re-engagement campaign, you're going to capture a lot more people that, because you're, again, poking them from time to time, you're getting very predictable performance in your email program. So you're not seeing high spikes and bounces, complaints, low engagement, because again, you're just keeping those people that have a really low probability at a very low clip. And therefore, if you ever are in the situation where it's like, yeah, I don't want to use recycling, this is our biggest event of the year, let's send the email to everybody, you're not going to see those high bounce rates, high complaint rates, low engagement, because, well, you will see low engagement because you're including people that have a much lower probability of engaging. So you can still very safely send emails to everybody in your database about a specific or singular event without fear of tarnishing your domain reputation. And at a very high level, in my opinion, we're giving people a break. Like if we were having a face-to-face conversation and somebody turned away and started talking to somebody else or playing on their phone, I'm not going to sit there and keep talking. It might be an important topic. So if I need to finish the conversation about that important topic, I'm going to stop right there and say, okay, I can clearly see that I don't have your attention right now. I'll come back to it. Now, if I come back to that topic and I say, hey, Kelly, do you want to have this conversation tomorrow? Hey, Kelly, do you want to have this conversation tomorrow? Hey, Kelly, do you want to have this conversation tomorrow? Eventually, I'm going to go, Mike, this is just absolutely asinine. Like, stop. And that's where the spam button comes in, the unsubscribe button comes in, or people ignore you come in. And the worst thing you want is people ignoring you, because that's the number one thing that the inbox providers are looking at to determine whether or not your emails are inbox worthy. So everything that I've covered so far doesn't matter if you aren't reaching people's inboxes. So a big investment that we've made as an organization, and that we are investing a tremendous amount of engineering and financial resources into this year, is to build out far deeper visibility into your overall email program. Now, one thing I should also point out is if I want to see what a real job is doing on the back end, so this example where we're sending a newsletter, I have complete visibility into that. So you can see here, this is going over 7 days to 4,633 people. We're recycling people with a lower probability of engaging of less than 5%. I'm going to turn off these predicted for a moment. But you'll see here today at 11 a.m., 36 people are scheduled to get their email. Today at noon, 28 people are scheduled to get their email. Today at 1 p.m., 18 people are scheduled to get their email. Now you'll notice down here this predicted versus personalized. What personalized means is you have data on these people. So the AI can determine, hey, when is this person's optimal time based off of all the engagement data you have on those individuals. Now, for people that you don't have data on, meaning they've never historically engaged with you, that's where that randomization comes in. But it's not fully randomized because you wouldn't want to test the same number of people at 4 a.m. that you would at 4 p.m. Instead, what the AI will do is it will use the intelligence of the audience. So you can see here, these 13 people that are getting their email in the 2 p.m. hour, we don't have any data on them. They've never historically engaged in an email that we've sent to them. So they got randomly selected to get their email in the 2 p.m. hour for this mailing. And what you'll notice is the randomization follows the exact same pattern as people that you have data on. So we're using the intelligence of the audience and weighting, and that's WEIGHTING instead of the number of people that can go per hour. Now, as far as the deeper visibility, everything that I'm about to show you has really some deep filtering capability where I can do filtering by different types of, date-based fields, custom, I can look at things over the last 2 years. I can also filter and say, I want to look at how my emails are performing with just Gmail as the inbox provider. Now, Gmail is different than Google Workspace. Google Workspace is Google's business offering. Just like Microsoft Office 365 is different than Microsoft Consumer. So that's one filter. I can filter by domains. I know none of you have ever been in this situation from if you're in the B2B world, salesperson comes in, they close this huge deal, and they're like, marketing did nothing for me. They had nothing to do with this opportunity. Oh yeah? Hold my beer. I'm going to show you all the air coverage I gave you for Amazon.com and all of the metrics for that specific account when it comes to email. So I'm gonna prove to you that I gave you air coverage on that. So on the delivery insights page, what is my database made up of? What inbox provider should I really care about? Apple Mail makes up 0.22% of our database. Should I really focus if I have a problem with them? Should I really focus on that or just kind of keep doing what I'm doing? How much am I sending to each provider on a daily basis? Why is this important? One, am I considered a bulk email sender by any of the providers? And if I am, I better have my house in order. And two, it can be part of a risk reduction conversation. Hey, if we get in trouble with Google Workspace, it can have a detrimental impact on our business. What are my delivery rates by inbox provider? Again, delivery does not equal inboxing, but it is still a very important metric to cover. How do I compare against industry best practices? Anything below 99%, you got some room for improvement. I can also look at things like metrics by inbox provider. What are my open rates month over month per inbox provider? I can look at negative metrics by inbox provider, bounce rates, unsubscribe rates. A big example of why this is important is, and this has actually happened to multiple customers, they change the HTML, their email template, they send it, and they're like, oh my gosh, we just got a big spike in unsubscribes. Well, why? Well, they made changes to their HTML template that was not rendering correctly in a few email clients, and they were able to very quickly spot that here versus spending days or weeks trying to figure out where that needle in a haystack is from. Now, one of the most important metrics that I encourage people to think about and cover is what we call audience reach. Marketers tend to look at an email by email performance basis. The inbox providers don't necessarily care about, did Jen open this email or that email? What they care about is what percentage of people that you're sending that are on their network are engaging in your emails. And if that number is very low, then you most likely have delivery problems with that specific inbox provider. And so I can look at what audience reach is. It's flipping the open rate metric on its head and saying, what percentage of people that we sent that use Google Workspace, we may have sent them one email this month, we might have sent them 50 emails this month. What percentage of them opened at least one email? What percentage of them clicked at least one email? Now, these charts are all interactive where I can zoom in by day, those types of things. I know we're getting close to time and I could go on for hours here. We believe audience reach is so important that we actually have dedicated its own page to that. So what this is saying is 27% of people that we've sent an email to over the last 6 months have opened at least one email. Now, we might have sent them, some of them one email. We might have sent some of them 50 emails and everything in between. 5% have clicked on at least one link in an email. Then I can look at things like audience reach by engagement type. How many total emails do we send? To how many unique people? How many unique people opened at least one email? How many unique people clicked on at least one email? And I can look at this both by percentages as well as counts. What is the average number of emails that I'm sending to people? This is a question that I ask people all the time. They're like, we don't know. Like, this can be very eye-opening to people. Holy, wow, this is amazing. We're sending on average 10 emails per person per month. But if I want to get the actual specific numbers, I can get that as well. Like, what this is saying is 11 people received 4 emails in the month of May. 8 people received 5 emails in the month of May. There are even people that received 11 and 12 emails in the month of, whatever month. Again, this becomes extremely eye-opening to users. Engagement insights. If you've ever read a study on when's the best time to send email, they all come with a chart like this displaying the ebbs and flows of people engaging with you. This would be a study of your data using our proprietary engagement score. I can also see where is my engagement coming from a locality perspective. So what this is saying, Oklahoma City had 1 engagement, Little Rock, Arkansas had 1 engagement, Houston, Texas had 16 engagements. There are all kinds of things that you can do with this. We want to run a local event. Where should we run it? Audience activation. This is how many emails do I need to send to people before they first open an email? If this number is really low, I have one of 2 problems. I'm either not reaching people's inboxes or I have delivery problems because they gave us their email address. Why are they not engaging? And we can look at audience activation by click. I can also get a visual of how many emails have I delivered since the last engagement. Lastly, recycling insights. I get some deep insights into how many people fall below the different engagement probabilities. All right, that was a mouthful. I know I just covered a ton in the last 10 minutes, and unfortunately, I only left 1 minute for questions. But I will also go out there and put out my contact information. If you have questions, comments, concerns, I can
awesome. We'll be sending out a follow-up email as well, so I'll make sure I include your information there if anyone has additional product questions.
Perfect.
I see one question. Can you see a report of how your email throttle was split? Example being 30% was set on Monday, 20% on Tuesday, etc.
Yes, you can. And that is where we're looking at the workflow actions screen. And this shows the ebbs and flows of how many emails were sent per day to how many people, at what time were those emails sent. One thing to point out here is we do what we call micro throttling. And what micro throttling is marketers tend to send emails on the hour, which means our inboxes get flooded every hour. And that can also cause deliverability problems because the inbox providers are getting flooded every hour. We'll use the full hour. So if we say here's 60 people to get their email in the noon hour on June 7th on Tuesday, the system is actually going to use the entire hour. So all 60 people would get their emails at different times. That looks more human to the recipient, and it helps on the deliverability side.
Awesome. Got time for one more question. Will your software still feed into the lead score? I'm not sure. That might be more of a HubSpot question, but
we do not do any. We do not stamp any properties in HubSpot. Quite frankly, HubSpot has asked us not to because we would destroy their APIs. The amount of data that we're processing and how often we update profiles, we would crush them. So unfortunately, there's nothing that we can push into to lead scoring.
Understood. Alrighty, everyone. We are at time here. So like we said, we'll send out a follow-up with the recording as well as Mike's contact information and some additional resources if you guys want to learn more about this. Thank you everyone for attending, and thank you, Mike, for such a fabulous and informative session.
Absolutely. Thank you. And again, really appreciate everybody joining and giving me an hour and 2 minutes of your attention. Again, I know that's not free. So thank you.
Currency of the world, as you say.
Yep.
Alrighty, thank you all. You can be on the lookout for that email in the next couple of days, and we will see you at the next hug.
All right. Thank you so much.